4.
Then I think the Titans will take Jeremiyah Love. First of all, Robert Saleh knows the value of a star running back for a young quarterback. He watched McCaffrey with Brock Purdy. And Saleh's got a better offensive feel than most defensive coaches. He actually does. I've texted Robert on that. He likes offense, and he knows the value. And this kid's a home run hitter. I'm telling you, man, the drop-off between Jeremiyah Love and the second-best running back in this draft, it may be greater than Fernando Mendoza and the second-best quarterback. He is an absolute Jahmyr Gibbs, day one in play, and they were 30th last year, the Titans were, in rushing offense. They got to get Cam Ward some help. There's plenty of receivers in the second, third, and fourth round. There's good tight ends in the second and third round. This is the star running back. Cam Ward needs help. He goes 4 to the Tennessee Titans.
Interesting. I don't think I've heard Colin say that before. He hasn't discussed the Tennessee Titans very much, but I'm pretty sure he had them selecting a defensive player in his earlier mock draft. I could be wrong. Anyway, I've mentioned this previously, but I'll say it again. And I want to show you a few statistics. I just think the Tennessee Titans absolutely have to take Jeremiyah Love. That's my position. When you have a new coaching regime and you're trying to figure out your quarterback situation, elevate whoever is under center, whatever the case may be, combined with the fact that the Titans have clearly been going nowhere fast for years now, when you have the opportunity to draft an offensive player who can make not just an immediate impact, but not even just rookie honors, but genuine NFL accolades, right? Take Jeremiyah Love. If this team is just relatively good enough, and I don't mean they have to go from worst to first or anything dramatic, but let's say they're just competent. Think of a team last season that was merely competent. There were plenty of incompetent ones. I'm trying to recall a team that was competent but didn't make the playoffs. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Atlanta Falcons, pretty much that entire division. Let's stick with that. If they're just good enough where you think, oh, this team is pretty good, I think they could get into the playoffs. Maybe they can win the division. Nothing too crazy, very lukewarm, very generic and neutral. You add a Jeremiyah Love to that, and he could lead the NFL in rushing yards, in scrimmage yards. That's the level of impact you can get from him. For a team like the Titans, given their current timeline, a new coaching staff on both sides of the ball, a second-year quarterback, any team could benefit from adding that. You could argue they should do it. But the Titans, to me, are the perfect example of no, you better do that. Even if he's not the ultimate missing piece that turns the whole franchise around, he is such a massive component. When you look at this team on a 2- or 3-year window, and I always evaluate teams in 3-year windows, especially with a new coach, the fact that you have this position locked in, that box checked, you're beautiful. You're good. Perfect. There are other players you'll be able to acquire in free agency over the next couple of years. You will not be able to get a Jeremiyah Love in free agency. The Philadelphia Eagles were incredibly fortunate to get Saquon, but that was because other teams were confused and the Eagles said, "We're not confused, we're going to do this." If everyone had known then what they know now after the Eagles made it work, you wouldn't have been able to get Saquon. It would have been an absolute all-out bidding war. And now people are realizing, oh wow, this really matters. That's why we saw the Chiefs go out and pay for Kenneth Walker and so on. These things matter. You have the ability to get someone like Jeremiyah Love who can immediately make such a huge impact. And when you're looking at a 2- or 3-year timeline, forget about it. You will be so happy to have that when your team is ready to win. When your team is ready to be as competitive as possible. The fact that you have Jeremiyah Love now, you have an experienced quarterback, you get that defense up to speed, you have a good enough offensive line, you have all the pieces. And you have Jeremiyah Love. It's such a massive advantage. Brian Daboll, Cam Ward, Jeremiyah Love, that combination alone has the potential to really get after it. I wanted to show you some more advanced analytics and stats, but PFF isn't cooperating with me right now. What I want to highlight is that even if you don't have the best offensive line in the game, the best run block win rate or anything like that, when you have someone as dynamic and as great as a Bijan Robinson, a Derrick Henry, a Jahmyr Gibbs, the damage can still be done. They can transcend a poor offensive line, especially with well-timed play calling as well. It's not even just the play call itself, it's the timing of the call. In many ways, that's how you get the home run. The offensive line can open the door for you, but then you need the truly special back to hit the home run, plus the timing of the play. Not enough can be said about the potential of linking Brian Daboll with Jeremiyah Love, with a sufficient offensive line, and with a quarterback who I believe will take legitimate steps forward, who will now be a threat in the passing game alone. From that perspective, you get multiplication, not just addition. You get tremendous synergy. I think some of these moves are no-brainers, honestly. I really, truly do. So don't overthink it, Tennessee Titans. Do not overthink it. For me, Jeremiyah Love is probably the player I'm most excited about beyond Fernando Mendoza, just because I'm quarterback-driven as well. I know the conversations and the evaluation process around Fernando Mendoza. So obviously I'm pretty locked in on that. But out of any of the other players, there are definitely a handful I find intriguing. I just think Jeremiyah Love has the ability to go to a team where he can have such significant impact. And that significant impact can be season-defining for the Tennessee Titans. It could actually be the difference between oh hey, the Titans are moving in the right direction. They obviously made the right hire. Cam Ward is showing a lot of progress. Even if they don't make the playoffs, even if they still lose some games and win, say, 9 games but miss the postseason, you would still say, this was a great season. Finally back on track. Cam Ward looked really good. Year 3, he's really going to break out. Robert Saleh really got that defense on track. Brian Daboll did a great job and he's coming back for year 2. You would feel good. Comfortable. Confident. Excited. But Jeremiyah Love has the ability to potentially push the T even further, where now you're thinking, oh no, we can actually make the playoffs. We can get in and compete. Then you start looking at the matchups, thinking, yeah, wild card round, we could absolutely beat so-and-so. Honestly, kind of like the Carolina Panthers, not because they had a huge impact player like a Jeremiyah Love, but it was just, I don't know, they get in there and they can beat the Rams, and they honestly should have beaten the Rams. If they had been just a little better, they would have. So you fall into that situation where you think, okay, we can absolutely make the playoffs. I don't know if we'd get blown out in the first round, there's some potential here. Now, you are to some degree at the mercy of the other teams around you and how things unfold. But to me, that is the impact that a Jeremiyah Love brings. That's why I'm most excited about it, the immediacy of it. The impact and how quickly that impact arrives. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Tennessee Titans drafting Jeremiyah Love? I know we've made a version of this video several times already, but I honestly can't stop thinking about it. Earlier in the draft discussion, I think I was a bit more open to going in a different direction. But right now, for whatever reason, this is where I'm locked in. I would genuinely need more convincing to change my mind. So let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. Whether you agree with me or disagree, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some debates. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you as part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.